Hey guys, my name's Luke. I make up half of the Flukes kitesurfing team. We've got Francis behind the camera and we make learn to kite tutorials to help people learn how to kite, sharing basically what we've learned being instructors and competing on the world tour. And in this video lesson series, we really try and teach everything from the very beginning: kite equipment, how it works, your basic piloting skills, launching and landing, and getting up, of course, riding on the water. And in this particular video, we're going to talk about the 3 do's and 3 don'ts of kite surfing. So first of all, we're stoked to have you here. We're stoked you're getting into kiting. We love sharing knowledge about kite surfing, and it's such a great time to get into the sport. You can choose so many disciplines now. You've got your wave riding, your twin tip, your foiling, all the equipment's come along really, so far in development that it's become safer, easier, that a lot of people, almost anyone, can learn to kite. And all the people that we know that get into kiting, they start saying, but they're just going to give it a go, and they end up, it's their main passion, and they're down the beach having a great time. So what are the problems that we see down the beaches all around the world when we're instructing or just kiting is we see a lot of people, they can get into trouble by simply just not understanding a lot of the basic core concepts, and something that can be so easily overcome with the proper training and knowledge. When I started kiting about 8 or 9 years ago, I was really, there wasn't a big industry for instructing, and I was trying to find out all of the information that I could to learn how to kite. There was a lot of trial and error, a lot of searching on YouTube, looking at videos, but you never really know when you're watching a YouTube video how credible is the person that is teaching it. And so what I've really found was, me and my mate, we had a lot of struggle trying to find out information off other people, work things out ourselves. And so we spent a lot of time dragging around on the beach, crashing our kites and all of that. And so as time's gone on and we've become, Francis and I have become qualified instructors, and all the way up to really competing at a pro level on the world tour, we've learned a few things. We've had our own coaches, and we've learned and absorbed a lot of information from a lot of different people. And so that's something that we really thought, that's what we should be sharing out there with the YouTube universe, and also with this new course that we're launching, because what it really is exactly what I wish I had when I was starting. That video resource to be able to come back and see, how does that work? I need a reminder about that process, and also to understand things that have really been thought out well from somebody that understands kiting, and so you can feel confident in what you're learning is the right procedure. And not only providing as much information as we can, possibly for free on YouTube, which is maybe where you found us right here, but also giving that structure for those people that really want to dive deep into it and learn, okay, this is step A, B, C, D, E, really give that course format so that you've got that one-on-one sort of coaching environment where we're talking, explaining processes starting at the start all the way up to when you're riding on the water. And we've had some really great feedback so far. Some examples, one of our students, he loves going back and reviewing the videos again because he learns it. It's one thing to have it explained in a lesson, but then of course you need to remember it all. So it's great to be able to go back, and he loves going and seeing it and getting a little bit more out of it each time. Or some of the people that have said they've had their breakthrough sort of riding upwind moment, or a guy came to the beach yesterday, and he just came and said g'day because, he loves our videos, he's learned heaps from it, and he just wanted to say hi. And we love getting all that feedback, so keep that feedback coming. And if you want to check out the course, you'll find a link in the description of this video. So let's get into the 3 do's and don'ts for kiteboarding. So we'll start with the 3 do's. The very first, number 1 do is you do need to get a lesson. If this is your very first day, we're providing video resources. That's fantastic, but it can't completely substitute for a real lesson. So get down there, get an instructor, somebody that's hands-on, they can see exactly what you're doing, correct your mistakes. Definitely valuable to do that, and to use that and then use the video resources as really complementary to make sure you fill in all of that information, save time and money because you already understand, and you can come back and you can review those videos. But definitely go and get a lesson somewhere with a qualified instructor. The second kitesurfing do is to assess the conditions and check the forecast. So before you come down to the beach, make sure you check the forecast so you can see what might develop, what might happen, what the weather stations are saying is going to happen. And then of course, when you get down to the beach, you want to be in a safe environment and, keep an eye on the weather because it might be very different to what the forecast said. So you're looking at the conditions, the local conditions, the weather. Make sure you understand what's a safe kite surfing environment, what makes dangerous conditions. Look for other kite surfers because they're likely in a position that would be safe. They've already worked out some of the hazards. They're setting up in the right area, they're landing in the right area, they're kite surfing in the right area. So definitely take all of that into consideration. Do number 3 is something that I do every single time that I come down to the beach, and I make an emergency exit strategy just in my head. Okay, it doesn't need to take long, but just look at the conditions and say, you know what, if something went really bad, like one of my lines broke or the wind completely died, what would I do? And I think this is something that a lot of people unfortunately are not doing, and we see it constantly where people are getting into very interesting situations, guys, where they're pressed up against rocks or they're drifting out into the middle of the ocean, and you wonder, like, how did they get to that point? And they got to that point by not thinking before they went out, you know, if this happens and I drop my kite and I can't get it back up and I'm getting pressed into a scary situation, I've already got it in my mind, okay, so I'm going to try maybe relaunch for the first 2 minutes. If it's not going to work, I'm going to quickly self-rescue and I'm going to sail in. Something like that would be a really simple one. Or there's a hazard in the middle of the ocean, so if that's going to happen, I'm going to steer my kite and I'm going to try and get over to that area. Or what happens if everyone goes home and the wind really picks up and I'm out there by myself? What would I do in that situation? Okay, well, I better make a plan for self-landing in this area. Where would I self-land? How would I do it? That sort of just thinking process before you go out, really important in my opinion, because then you know, okay, yeah, I've got that in my mind. Okay, the swell's big at the moment. How am I going to get into the beach if my line breaks out the back? What happens if my kite deflates spontaneously and I'm 2 kilometers offshore? Do I have it in me to swim back? Okay, because what it'll also do is sort of make you think about, okay, maybe I shouldn't go 2 kilometers offshore. Maybe I shouldn't go down into that big wave section. Just think about that. What's your strategy if something really goes wrong? Okay, so now let's talk about the 3 don'ts of kitesurfing. Okay, so the 3 don'ts of kiteboarding that we've got for you today is don't number 1 is don't let excitement overcome good judgment. This is something that I'm sort of telling myself when I say that, because I actually ran into trouble one time when I was just getting started into kiting. I had one kite, it was an 11-meter kite, and the waves were pumping, the wind was blowing about 30 knots. I was standing on the beach, everyone's out there having the best time ever, and you know, I was completely overpowered on the 11. I could barely even hold it down, but it was my only kite, so I wanted to go out. I was excited and I went out there and I got absolutely destroyed out there. I got sort of dolphined in through the water, in and out. I ended up dislocating my left shoulder. I had to drag in with a dislocated shoulder through double overhead surf, and it was pretty extreme circumstances, you know, and something that I wish sort of didn't happen, and something that would have been so easily avoided by me either having more equipment, so I had the right size for that day, maybe an 8-meter, or just making the decision, you know what, I don't think this is my day, even though it looks awesome. You know, I'm a bit too excited. I just need to take a step back and say, you know, I should keep myself safe first. Don't number 2 ties into that, and that is don't kite alone. And you should really, particularly when you're learning, I mean, you want to make sure that you've always got some sort of buddy out there just in case something goes wrong. Someone that understands kiting a little bit so they can help you land your kite on the beach if needed, or they might be able to run down the beach after you if something goes wrong. Don't kite alone. And the reason I say it ties into the last one is because when I got to the beach then and I had an injured shoulder, I would have really been in a tough spot. But I had my mate, he came running down the beach, helped me sort of pack up my gear, and off we went to the hospital to get it put back in. So don't number 3 is, when buying used equipment, don't buy anything more than, say, 4 to 5 years old. I think this is really important, and the main reason is, 1, I know that it can be enticing because old used equipment is cheap, but the fact is, the progression of kitesurfing equipment and the innovation that's happening year after year after year means the newer models are not only newer, so probably in better condition, but much safer. They have the right, you know, functions, safety releases, maybe different tension lines, different materials in the canopies, and so it really makes a huge difference. On top of that, they fly heaps better. So a newer kite, particularly, you know, with the kites that we fly, it's night and day between the first kites that I used to ride, so 2009 model kites to 2020 model kites. It's completely different experience. I used to fly my kite up, my first ever kite, I used to fly it to 12, it would turn inside out and drop out of the sky every time I flew it to 12. Like, that's the difference. Now, I don't even have to look at my kite, I can let go of the bar, the thing floats there, super stable. So, when you're looking for some used equipment, maybe you're getting into it, definitely look at those newer models. They're going to be safer and they're going to make you progress a lot faster because you're going to feel more comfortable, you're going to have better control over the kite, the kite's going to be more stable and things like that. And look guys, whether or not you take the course, okay, there's a few things that you really need to know. Make sure you pay attention to those do's and don'ts and focus on kite control. That's really the number one thing that a lot of people maybe don't fully think when they're starting kiting. Maybe they think it's more about surfing or riding the board, but really a lot of it is in your kite control. So spend some time to learn, get some instruction, watch as many videos as you can so that you do get better and better at flying the kite. Even, like I said, even if you don't take the course, go out there and learn, okay, how do I assess conditions? How do I do this safely? How do I launch and land my kite? What's the best practice for setting up my equipment? You know, what size kite should I take out on any given day? What should I be looking for in used equipment? You know, how do I self-rescue, for instance? How do I get back to the beach safely? How do I self-land in an emergency? How do I self-land and launch in a controlled environment? All of that you should be thinking about, getting prepared so that you know you have all of the tools in your mind when you get out there to hit the water. And of course, you can learn all of those things with an instructor. That would be great. You can go down there, you can pay for lessons, learn everything like that with an instructor. Doing so, you'll probably spend about $1,000, but depending on your circumstances, that might seem fine to you. That's really what we've tried to do with the course, is include a lot of that information into the course. And you know, we want people to love it. And so we've provided a money back guarantee. So 30 days, if it's not for you, no questions asked, just let us know, we'll send you the money back. So you can try it really risk-free and make sure that it is the information that you wanted, and make sure you do love it, because we've got that satisfaction guarantee. So with the price of it is $67, but you're not going to pay that if you sign up from this video, because, you know, to say thank you for following us on YouTube here, there will be a link in the description and also a coupon code so you can get a discount on the price. Plus we're going to include some bonuses for you. So we've got 3 bonuses. One is, of course, access to us, so you can ask us questions. The other is, you know, we'll give you some recommendations for kite equipment. We might be able to help you out with some discounts even when you're looking, or some good sort of information about what you should buy so that you can get a good setup at a good price. And third is, we're going to send you a sticker. So we'll send you a Flukes kitesurfing sticker in the mail, no matter where you are in the world. So you can go ahead and grab that right now. Like I said, the link's in the description. We'd love to see you there. We love building this kite community. You know, it's such a fantastic community. Everyone's so friendly and helpful, and we like really getting on this mission of providing as much knowledge as we can. So we hope that you want to get included with that and learn with us and connect with us in the course. So again, you can grab the link in the description, click on that, and we'll see you in those videos.